transplant பத்தி ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிருக்காங்க இவங்களே. இவங்க ஹெல்ப்ல நிறைய பேர் டிரான்ஸ்பிளான்ட் பண்றாங்க இந்தியால. I've said you've helped many programs.
Oh, thank you.
I think Dr. Nigel Heaton is a colleague of mine for 25 years. 25 வருஷமா நாங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் ஒண்ணா வேலை செஞ்சோம் லண்டன்ல. இப்போ நான் இங்க வந்துட்டேன், இவங்க அங்க இருக்காங்க.
So, thank you, Mohammed. I'm here because I was invited. But after the COVID, we realized that we weren't meeting as groups to understand what was going on in liver transplantation, to share the latest knowledge, and to share the best practice in treating patients. I've been coming to India for 30 years. 30 years ago, the thought of doing liver transplantation was a distant dream. Probably 10, 15 years ago, there was a major change in terms of what was happening. Instead of doctors being exported to Europe and America, they were returning here to India and building centers of excellence. Mohammed was one of the people in that first wave coming back to India, using the knowledge that they'd gained in the UK in Mohammed's case, or in America or Japan or wherever, and have transformed healthcare for liver disease in India. Now it's visible. Everyone can see how dramatic the treatment of liver transplantation is for patients who face death without this treatment. The challenge for India is the huge population. You know, for the UK, we're 60 million people. We do 1,000 transplants each year. For India, how do you achieve that level of healthcare? How do you ensure all the people living here get access to best care and best medicine? And this is going to be a journey. It just doesn't happen overnight. But centers here in Chennai with Mohammed show best practice. And now, instead of people going to Europe to learn, people are coming from around the world to see best practice with living donor liver transplantation in India. The big challenge for India is how to develop cadaveric transplantation. That's transplantation from organs that come from dead people. How to get the population to accept that, how to use the organs, and how to ensure this treatment is applicable to everyone that needs this treatment. So I'd like to congratulate Mohammed on his journey through liver transplantation, where he's arrived today in establishing this big center of excellence here in Chennai. And I would urge you to encourage the population to support organ donation.
Thank you, Nigel. அவர் சொன்னது புரிஞ்சுதான்னு தெரியல உங்களுக்கு. இந்தியாவில் வந்து நிறைய லிவிங் டோனர் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆர்கன் டொனேஷனையும் இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணோம், கடாவர் டோனரையும் இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணோம். And that's the next step for India really to improve cadaver transplantation rather than pushing living donor transplantation. Giuliano is from the United States.
Good afternoon, everybody. I come from Dallas, Texas, but I'm Italian. And I want to take a little different approach to my introduction and your kind presence here. There are many similarities I see between Italy, my country, and India. The same approach to family life and the same friendly faces you find in India as you find in Italy. The food is terrific. I think is my second favorite food and now probably my first favorite food. And you know the Italian food is famous all over the world. The traffic is the same. So we have that in common. It's terrible here as it's terrible in Italy. But the reality that I see is that everything we have discussed at this conference represents really the top of the discussion in liver transplantation today. And it's fascinating how in a short span of probably 10, 15 years, now we are here discussing what is really important and what will project our profession in the next 10 to 15 years. And every single topic has been addressed properly here, thank you to the leadership of Professor Rella. which is really incredible if you think about that. We will never think that we're going to hire surgeons coming from centers in India, from professor centers in the United States, to teach us how to perform proper liver surgery. Just to let you an idea how important it is, how restrictive it is, that market, and instead how professionally excellent these surgeons have become to be able to profess outside this country, outside India. And it's all thanks to this incredible evolution that has been led by Professor Rela. So I think this is really what really makes this lack of boundaries, this incredible open to all of us, coming from all over the world, coming here to teach and to learn, has been probably one of the most fascinating experiences I've had by coming to Chennai today, and thanks to Professor Rela. So I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Next, it's going to be Professor Igawa from Japan. He's a very famous professor, the top liver transplant surgeon, and also he's president of International Living Donor Liver Transplant Study Group. So for all the people interested in living donor liver transplant, he is currently the president of that group.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Hiroto Igawa. As Professor Lela introduced me, I'm now the president of International Study Group of Living Donor Liver Transplantation. And my career is almost 30 years in the living donor transplantation. And Japan did not begin the living donor transplantation, but they developed the LDLT and make it as standard medical care. And it spread all over the world. So, we developed and then learned each other together and make the LDLT as a standard medical care in all over the world. And especially, I'm very interested in the transplant immunology. So the transplantation is not only the surgery. We need science, immunology, infection, nutrition. So we are surgeon, but the transplant surgeon is not only the specialist of all scientific field. And also the transplant surgeon has their own strong opinion in each issue. So you can imagine it is very difficult to make consensus among us, but under his strong and excellent leadership, we make many, many good consensus in small pore size syndrome in LDLT, which is a most serious issue in this field. I'm very learned a lot, and we also learned a lot and make us the renewal yesterday. So I am enjoying today's meeting and tomorrow's meeting. So congratulations, Professor Lela, for the great meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Professor Leroux is a past president of International Liver Transplant Society. He's from Belgium. And Belgium at one time was a mecca of pediatric and living donor liver transplantation.
Thank you, Mohamed. So good afternoon. For me, I come from Belgium, but it's, I think, the 5th or the 6th time I come to India, so I have seen all this evolution. But in particularly, I have seen the evolution of Mohamed Rela, I think, over more than 30 years. And I remember that I was the first to invite him to an international meeting when he was a very young and talentful surgeon. I think this is worthwhile to say. And of course, because of this, we had a close relationship and friendship. I must say I admire Mohamed Rela not because he is standing beside me, but because of 3 reasons. The first one is his unbelievable dynamic behavior to bring every year together at one place all the experts or most of the experts in the world of liver transplantation, aiming that the local transplant community improves the care of the liver diseased patients in India. The second thing is that he has a strive to perfect surgery and make especially the donation of a liver safe. And this is also the reason that we had yesterday a consensus conference which in fact aims at making more reliable and safe the operations for those heroes who gave a part of their liver to their beloved ones. And the third one, and this is for me maybe the most important one, is his unbelievable drive, and he succeeded already in an important way to set up and to further develop the organ donation from diseased persons. And taking in account your cultural background, Hinduism and so on, we appreciate even more, maybe not everyone in the Western world, what an achievement this is. I think this is absolutely a fantastic achievement and should serve as an example for all populations in the world who still have doubt that transplantation is a useful medical treatment. So I want to congratulate him here before all of you, because I think he even deserves an applause for this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sit down. The next is Professor John Imond. I couldn't say I wish I'd known you for many, many years, but I've known you only since you've been, personally. But he's one of the most famous surgeons from the United States. He represents Canada as well now, I believe. So he represents Canada and United States. You can talk from here. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, Professor Rela, thank you. It's an honor to be invited. I come from New York. Liver transplantation started in the United States with Dr. Starzl, and now it has spread all across the world. And you see this amazing collection of surgeons, and we represent a movement of people who want to work together to make the world a better place, regardless of our cultures. Living donor liver transplant was very small when it started. Professor Igawa pointed out the Japanese we did a few cases in 1989 in Chicago. The Japanese surgeons developed it into a real thing. It came around through Europe, the United States, and now India is becoming the biggest living donor center in the world. But there's so much more to do, as Professor Clavien pointed out. Living donor in a few wonderful, excellent, world-class hospitals in India will not be sufficient to fight the burden of liver disease in India, which is enormous. So it will require the development of systems, the development of deceased donation, and all the other things. But the pioneers like Dr. Rela have brought world-class surgery to India, and we are so happy to be part of that.
Thank you very much. இதோட முடிச்சுக்கலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். யாருக்காவது கேள்வி கேட்டிங்கன்னா நான் தான் பதில் சொல்லணும். The consensus are meetings where world leaders join together in a specific field, who are all authorities in one subject. It's one subject matter in the field of living donor liver transplantation. The consensus is we need to have an agreement about how we manage patients, because there are so many different opinions and everybody is doing their own things. The purpose of the consensus is for all the specialists who are in the field come together and agree on one way to do things, or at least agree on the right way to do things, and we make recommendations. And the recommendations will be published in big journals. And everybody is somewhat duty-bound to follow at least, or not deviate too much from these statements that we make in the consensus. So it's a very important meeting, because we are actually leading people around the world how to do things. So that's what a consensus is. Yes, very much related to an operation, how to manage. This is the consensus when the chinna liver pote every patients survive panna vekiradhu. It's about small for size syndrome that we see. So it's about how to manage patients who receive a small amount of liver. That's correct, yes. No, it's that, not just that, but when you put a certain amount of liver, and if that liver is not enough for the patient, how to manage that patient. That's the consensus was about. It's a very large subject matter. We were discussing this all day yesterday. Cadaver donation? I think Tamil Nadu is leading India in cadaver donation. I think that message should go out to the government and we should congratulate the government. Of all the states in India, I think there are some states like Maharashtra and Telangana probably are also donating. Tamil Nadu is donating, but it's not enough for us. We do, I think in Tamil Nadu there are about 120, 130 donors a year, which is better than most other states. But we ourselves are doing close to 300 liver transplants, so it's not enough. So that's one of your job, is to promote organ donation as well. 290 last year we did per year. We have done more than 2,400 transplants so far since I returned back to Chennai. For only 15% are cadaver. Previously, we used to do 30% cadaver, but now we have got 20 centers in Tamil Nadu, all sharing, so our share of the organs have come down. The consensus is about how does it benefit? We can take small amount of liver from the donor, so rather than taking large amount of liver from the donor. And if we can effectively use a small liver and get a successful outcome for the recipient, that's the whole idea, instead of taking large amount of liver from the donor. No, we generally have consensus about how much liver we can take and all of that. Those are all established already. Okay. I hope you write a good article. I want to read that. You've asked good questions. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for coming. We need to join back in the meeting. Thank you. Oh, group photo? Group photo here? We stand here? Yeah. Yeah. No, he wants us to stand up. We'll move the chairs and the table behind, I think. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I think this is also important. You know. They want to stand there, behind? Yeah, I'll stand in the middle.